So this is the latest version of Fusion application. It's not version actually. So it is release 13 only. But 20A means this 20 is nothing but 2020 this year, and A means first quarter, and A means first quarter. So here I'm going to show how to run the complete global HR. We could not find much differences between the 19D. 19D means 2019. D means last quarter, October, November, December. And this is 20A means 2020, January, February, and March period. We could not find much differences, but I'll show you in the next session where do we find the changes between the quarters from one quarter to another quarter. So still the version is release 13 only. Even if we go for any interviews, they'll ask you which version of Fusion applications you are working. So we'll say release 13. Then they'll ask you, okay, we can also say directly release 13 and 20A, or release 13, 19D. Like that also we can tell that, not a problem. Okay. So I'm going to execute the entire global HR, whatever the way we did in the previous sessions. Let me open the Excel sheet. Yeah. So first I'm going to create an implementation project over here. Just 1 minute. Now we are going for this entire implementation. Enterprise structure we have already discussed, that's not required. So let me go for create an implementation project first. Let's go to applications, go to task list here, manage implementation project. We can also use existing implementation projects which are already available, not a problem. Let's say HCM implementation project like this. Let me go for a new implementation project. I'm going ahead with IBM is the name of the implementation project. And I'm going to include a global HR. Of course, it comes automatically. And I'm going to include payroll in this particular work area here. So go to payroll here and save and open project. So now go to the first task. I'm just trying to create a reference data set first, because we would like to keep all our objects, nothing but our locations, departments, jobs is all we would like to keep it here. It is right. So what I'm trying to do is here. So I'm going to keep it all these options here. So first I'm going to create a reference data set for locations. Manage reference data set. As we have already discussed all these topics and objects detailed in every session in our previous topics. So I'm just going ahead with the execution of the flow completely. So IBM location reference data set. IBM location reference data set. This is I am using to keep all my locations. Next, let's go for action reasons. I would like to have a proper reason to create a location. These actions and action reasons we will find everywhere. Even if we are hiring an employee, you can have one reason. While creating a legal entity, legal address, business units also, you can have a reason. So these two are common topics. Almost we will find for every task. Let me go to the task called manage actions. And once we go to this task, manage actions here, then we are going for the task create location. Go to the task, create location. And then what is the reason? Here, IBM new location. So that's the name of the location. And I'm going to mention that this reason is valid from 1951 till this. This is not 2012. This is 4712. Okay. So if we want to keep some other end date, yes, we can keep it. It's not an issue. So let me go for save. After we save, then go for close. So it's not only for location. You can see all the actions, create grade, create position, create other options all there, right? So let me go for close this. Let's come back to our task list here. Then we are going to have the next task is a location. So let me go for the task called location and go for create a location. Manage locations. So what is mean by location? Whenever we are interacting with the client, we'll ask the client how many locations you are doing the business, maybe sales, procurement, or inventories, or the head office, or legal offices, or just office site. This all. So I'm mentioning that it's valid from 1951, and the reference data set, IBM location reference data set, and whatever the action reason we created, that I'm going to specify. IBM New York. Let me go with New York location code, and its status is active. And this inventory organization is used for inventories, not required now. Context value is a descriptive flex field. It comes under the DFF concept when we are discussing that. So enter this code. And go for review this. And go for submit. So once we create a location, let me go for search the object, whether it's created and approved or not. Because sometimes what happened, some approval management might have configured, so that time object will not be cleared. So we need to search. Now it's okay, fine. Location created successfully. Divisions not required because we are not using the divisions much. And legislative data group, we are going to do now. So now go to the task, manage legal entities. This is what I'm doing now, legal entities. This. And LDZ, we will use existing legislative data group, and that is for US legislative data group. So go to the task, manage legal entity, sorry, legal address. So first we need to create an address. We have already discussed about the legal address issue, but anyway, we'll check once by creating new legal address. And in case if there is any problem, we'll look into the built-in address. IBM sorry, address and postal code 2200. It's a New York location. I'm going to select. So legal address is nothing but where the office is started legally office is started, and go for legal entity. Go to the task, manage legal entity here. Now we are going for selected scope. Selected scope is nothing but you want to create a new legal entity, or you would like to search for existing legal entity. Now you want to go ahead with a new legal entity, IBM New York. It's a legal employer and also the PSU, payroll statutory unit, and choose the legal address, whatever we have created. Just now we did IBM address, this, and place of registration, New York, and this details. Go for save and close. It's all legal details. We are supposed to get it from our client. We will be interacting with the business users, gather the requirement. There will be a questionnaire. In the questionnaire, we'll ask all those questions and we'll get the information and we'll configure it. Now I'm going to attach my legal entity to the legislative data group. Every legal entity must be associated with the LDZ. In the interviews, they'll ask you, if I don't attach my legal entity with LDZ, what happened? We can't hire employees. We cannot hire employees. We can't run the payroll. Only we can prepare some legal documents, and it means tax documents, and submit to the government. That's all. We cannot do more than that. Let me go for search our legal entity, whatever we have created, IBM New York. This is what our legal entity, and it's active, and it's PSU, and also it's legal employer. Let's go for save and close here. So once we go for creation of the legal entity successfully, now we are going to associate with LDZ. If we look at here, we are able to get, this is my legal entity, and it's already mentioned as a legal employer. So we got this tab, and it's already configured as a PSU, payroll statutory unit. That's why we got this tab also. When we go to this tab, then only we'll be able to find associated legislative data group. Because if you are running some payroll, it means if you have some employees and you are running the payroll for them, then only you are going to associate with your business users. So you can take some any old date, not a problem. So let me go for, this is how we will associate our legal entity, our PSU with LDZ. So the official word is associate our PSU with LDZ. PSU means indirectly legal entity only. Okay. So sometimes in the interview, they'll ask you, can I attach legal employer to the LDZ directly? I'm sorry. If it is a PSU, then only we can associate. If it is a PSU, then only we can associate. Otherwise, we cannot. Let me open the same task and go for test whether it's associated successfully or not. Let's go to this tab. You will come to know, yes. I told you, right, last time, sometimes it will work and sometimes it don't work. If it is not working, what is the workaround? You have to create a new legal address. Sorry, you have to use the built-in legal address. The existing legal address you have to use and go for perform the activities. Fine. Now, legal entity is done. Let's go for ledger. So we have to create a ledger, attach our legal entity to the ledger. So go to the task, manage primary ledger. Ledger is combination of forces, currency, calendar, chart of accounts, and compliance method. And this is mainly used to track accounting transactions. In financial modules, if the organization would like to maintain a proper format for their accounting entries, then ledger will be used. I'm using US chart of accounts here. This is built in, and calendar I'm going to use this, and then currency US dollar, and compliance method standard and accrual. This is what we are using now. And then I'm going to assign the legal entity to the ledger. Let's go to selected scope and go for select your ledger, apply and go to task. Search for the ledger. There is option here, query by example. Click this, then we'll get query option here. So press enter key, then we'll be getting the search result. And what happened? save and close. Select Alt S. Alt S is the shortcut for save and close. Now this is what our ledger. Let's go for insert our legal entity. We are associating our legal entity with the ledger. That's it. It is mandatory because when we are going for next step, business unit, then it's going to be attached. Its system will ask us to go for save and close. So that's how we will associate legal entity with the ledger. And enterprise, of course, there will be a built-in enterprise by default available, whatever is loaded. Where do we find enterprise name? Manage enterprise HCM information. This is the task name where I can find the name of the enterprise. The name of the enterprise. Manage enterprise HCM information. So we can find over here. This is okay. Fine. Next, come back to our task list here. So legal entity is done. And then we did all these configurations. We have also associated with the legislative data group. Yes, one point is required here, tax reporting unit. Generally, tax reporting unit is required when we are running the payroll. Anyway, we'll do that. So that's going to be in the next course, legal entity, payroll. In payroll, when we are running the payroll, make sure that your legal entity is a tax reporting unit. Go to the task, manage legal reporting unit, HCM information. Go to selected scope and select your LRU, legal reporting units. And then go for check this checkbox, tax reporting unit. If required reporting establishment also, it means generation of the reports, we can go for configure. We'll talk about this in the next course in the payroll. What is tax reporting unit and how it will work. This is mainly to calculate the deductions for an employee here. Fine. So that's what we did here. Next, we are going for business unit. So let's go for business unit and attach business unit with the legal entity. Right. This is what I'm going to do. Business unit. So let's go to the task, manage business units. Open the task here. IBM business unit here. And the location, now we created, right? That location we can use business unit. See, location is optional. It's not mandatory because we can also sell the goods to the customers or procure the goods without location also. How it is possible? Nowadays, we are getting it through online, right? There won't be any locations. They won't be having any sales office. Still, they are selling the goods to customers. So business unit is an organization where the organization is doing main business operations like sales, procurement, payables, receivables. This all we'll call it as managed business unit. Okay, fine. Business unit is created. Let's attach our business unit with the legal entity. Let's go to the task. Assign business unit, business function. Sometimes you don't find this task here. No problem. Go to add, select the task list, define business unit. Assign business unit, business functions. Select BU. And we are going for IBM business unit. Alt S is a shortcut for save and select your BU. IBM business unit. Sorry. Select this. The task manage. Okay. Assign business unit to business function. There is some problem. So what is that? Showing some error message. IBM view. Okay. RTS. This is. There is some navigation issue. Not more than that. Okay. So select Alt S. Alt S is the shortcut. Okay. So this is what our business unit, and I'm telling that this business unit our client is using to perform all this business. Based on these checkboxes, your business unit will be populated in the corresponding module. For example, if I enable in the sales, then in the sales module, it means in order management module, this business unit will be available. Otherwise, it will not be available. Okay. So now here we can see that the ledger as well as the legal entity. So let me search for this IBM ledger and the legal entity and go for save and close. This is how we are going to associate our business unit with the legal entity and ledger. Okay, that's fine. Next, department. So before we go for create a department, first we need to create one reference data set. So let's create one reference data set. We did for locations already, and now we are doing it for departments. Now I'm going to perform this task for departments. Go to the task, manage reference data set. Go to the task, manage reference data sets. And if we search here, this is location reference data set, IBM department reference data set here. Go for save and save and close. Manage reference data set is done. So go for manage department. Go to the task, manage department here. So let me go for create a department here. And IBM, I'm going for finance department this. Once the department is created successfully, so let's go for search the department. You need to verify the department is done successfully or not, because there might be some approvals. Let me search here. IBM Finance, fine. IBM Department RDS, it's okay. Next, now we need to attach this RDS to the business unit. We already created locations. We kept our locations in the RDS called IBM location RDS, and we created our departments, either one or multiple, IBM department RDS. So here are my locations. Here are my departments. Let me attach all this to my business unit. I'm going to attach to my business unit. So go to the task, manage business unit. This is very important question in the interviews. If you want to create a business unit, what is the task name? If you want to assign reference data set to your business unit, what is the task name? If you want to assign your business unit to the legal entity, what is the task name? This is to assign to the legal entity. This is to assign set. Set is nothing but a reference data set. In the interviews, they'll ask you what is RDS or what is reference data set. or what is set ID concept. That way also they'll ask you, all are same. Okay. So we are already in the scope of our business unit. So directly we can go for the task, open this task. This help icons we are getting here because in your here show help icons option is enabled. Fine. So this is our business unit. By default, common is there, common reference data set. I want to assign my departments, where my departments are there in IBM department RDS. Common will be assigned automatically. I'm not removing the common reference data set and replacing this. Common by default, it will be attached to your business units. Okay, fine. We did for departments and do it for locations also. IBM location RDS, right? So let me go for save and close. This is how we will go for assign our objects to the RDS and how the RDS will be assigned to business units. That's fine. Let me go for workforce structure. In the interviews, they'll ask you what is enterprise structure and what is workforce structure. Enterprise structure is nothing but this configuration of enterprise, division, LDZ, legal entity, business units, reference data set. These all are enterprise structures. These all are organizations. These all are organizations. We'll call it as an enterprise structure. Then what is workforce structure? Workforce structure is nothing but this: departments, jobs, grades, locations, positions. Jobs, locations, and positions. There will be a 5 objects. This you can get it from here also. Let's go to navigator. You might have seen sometimes the navigator comes as a list here, right? And this is something the same one, but designing is different. You can display it in any format, not a problem. Okay. So here, whenever we go to this options, there will be option here, workforce structure. See, when you select workforce structures, it will shows all the 5 objects. These all are generic, words which we'll be using, like positions, jobs, okay, grades. That is just comparison, and organizations. This all departments and other things comes. Locations. Yes. Fine. So let's come back to our setups and maintenance. I'm going to define first job. I'm going to define a job here. And we did job lookups and other things in our instances. I'm not going that level at this point of time. I'm just straight away creating the, someone has saved this search result. That's a problem. So every time you have to choose all implementation project, select your IBM. And now I'm going for the task called manage job. So let me go. I'm not going ahead with the job families and lookups because this all we did at the time of discussing that particular concept, right? Jobs. Before I go for job, obviously, I wanted to have my own reference data set for the jobs also. Let me go for first reference data set. Let me create for job and grade. Or we can do it later also, not a problem. Reference data set. Manage reference data sets. And we did for location and we did for department. Now it's going to be for job. Manage reference data set is done. Now go to the task, manage job. And here we are going to use job reference. We can also have single reference data set and all objects we can keep it on the same reference data set. It doesn't mean that we need to have separate for department, separate for locations, separate for jobs. We can keep all objects in a single, but generally the requirement will not be feasible when we go for single. That's why we'll create separate for all. So let me go for submit the job. Now job we have created successfully. Let me search whether job is created successfully or not. IBM, that's done. IBM manager, common reference data set. Let me go for the position. Go to the task, positions. Now we are doing it. This positions. Now this is done. Now we are going for positions. So when we are implementing HCM, jobs are mandatory. It's obviously required, but position is optional. It's not mandatory. In the interviews also, they'll ask you in which scenario generally you will refer the positions to your client. For example, client says, I don't know whether I want positions or not. You tell me, you understand my business, and you tell me whether positions are required or not. So in which scenario the positions are required is whenever client is asking for detailed approval processes. When the client is asking for detailed approvals and detailed budgeting and detailed headcount. Headcount means for this position, only one person I want to recruit. That's a condition I would like to put. For this position, only 10 members are allowed, not more than that. This type of controls, if the client is looking, obviously positions are required. In jobs, we cannot. When we create a job, and you can hire a number of employees for that. Okay, so that's the difference. That's the answer we are supposed to tell. And in fact, when we are working in the project also, the same thing. So let me go to the task, manage positions. And another question, the position will be directly associated with the business unit. There is no question of RDS for the position. Positions directly associated with the business units, because the reason why the jobs are associated with RDS, then RDS to the business unit. Finally, the jobs also comes to BU, position also comes to the BU associated with business unit. Then the only difference is jobs will not directly assign to the BU. It will be associated with RDS to BU. That's an indirect assignment. Whereas positions directly assigned with the business unit. The very simple answer, the positions are different from one business unit to another business unit. From one BU to another BU, the positions are different. That's why it is better to create the positions directly by selecting the business unit. But jobs are common. Most of the jobs are common for all the business units. That's why instead of creating for every BU, let's create one job. Let's say there are 30 different types of jobs are there. Client is telling that 28 jobs are common in all the business units. Then we can create a job, all these 28 jobs, and select as common set. What happened? It will be associated with all your business units automatically. So that type of flexibility will be there in the job. Let me go for this. What is our business unit? IBM business unit. And this is my IBM sales manager. Click next button. And I'm going to say that this is, yes, here only you will find the department. If you don't get your department, you need to check your business unit is associated with your departments or not, and you need to check the dates also. Same thing, job also. I don't think so we'll get a job now. Yes, I'm not getting the job. I created job, it's there, but the problem is your job is not assigned to the business unit. We created a job, but we are not assigned a job to the business unit. Let me show you. So when I go to the task here, IBM, when I go to the task, IBM manager, I created this particular job in which reference data set, edit for this reference data set. This is the job name, and this must be associated with our business unit. That step we are not done. We are not done. Let me do that. So how we can perform? Manage business unit. We did for departments, we did for locations. Now we are doing it for jobs. This concept you need to go through multiple times. The video you have to play, and you have to be on calm and patient and just listen. Couple of times it will be clear. Initially it looks a little bit confusion, but it's very simple. IBM job RDS. That's so when you go to your business unit, automatically your job will be available. So now let's go to the task, manage position, and go for creation of the position over here. Create, and our business unit IBM sorry, business unit, and this is the manager. Sorry, this is job name. Go back. Let me take it as sales manager and go to next. Here only we can find, and this is also one of the important question in the interviews. What are the mandatory objects required to create a position? Two objects, department and job. Without department, without job, we cannot create a position. So it's mandate. Select now IBM finance department, IBM manager. This is what our job. Select IBM location, and let's say these all are optional, and I'm going to say it's approved, and we already discussed about this all positions. I can say that 11 members we can hire. Security clearance is not required. Provision period, let's say 3 months. So when you hire an employee for this particular position, 3 months will be the provision period. Let me go for submit, and again search for the position whether it's created or not. So let's go back to the page. Search for the position over here, IBM position manager. Sorry, IBM sales manager. We can just search with IBM. That's enough. Okay. Yes, it's fine. No approvals. It's okay. Next, we are going for grades. I'm going to have the grades, this, and attach this grades, grade ladder and all. So again, same, when we want to go with the grades, let's have first reference data set for the IBM job, right? IBM job RDS that we did. Now I'm going for grades. Let's go to the task, reference data set. So I'm creating new reference data set. And after that, now I'm going for grades, manage grade. I'm going to define 2 grades. So select reference data set here. IBM A grade. So let me go for create another grade, IBM B. Sorry, we did in common set, IBM grade reference data set. That's what we are using separate. What happened if you put it on common site? It's available for all the business units. Let me complete this process here. I'm not going with the IBM grade rates and all because we already talked about this on our previous sessions. We exclusively grade rates and all. Let me search with IBM grade here. I think IBM A grade we did. Oh, okay. It seems there is an approval is enabled for this. For grades, approval is enabled. Let me go for manage approval transactions for HCM. And the task name is grade over here. Approval rules. Create grade. I'm just going to bypass the approvals. I'm just disabling the approvals. Now let me go for grade. So I'll create a new one. IBM new A grade. So select IBM grade reference data set, IBM new A grade. Go for submit. Let me create one more grade B. That's going to be here. It is new grade A and B. That's what the grades. Let me assign this grade the business unit first. So go to the task, manage business unit, set assignment. We are already in the scope of our business unit. Let's open the task directly and search for the grade. Press enter key and assign your reference data set, grade reference data set. Go for save and close. This is how we will associate our grades with the business. That's it. Now everything is fine. Now we are going for hire an employee. We are going to hire an employee. If we want to hire an employee, we need a role called human resource specialist role. Human resource specialist. This role must exist for your user, then only you can hire employee. How to find the role is exist or not? Generally, if we go for my client groups, here new person option comes, but right now it's not available because you don't have the role. The current user does not have that role. Let me attach. Go to more tab, security console. Search for this user, whatever we have. Go to users. Search for this user and then go for attach the role over here. Add role, human resource specialist. This role is required. Generally, when we attach the role, automatically it will be updated. It doesn't require any processes execution like LDAP process or something. We can just cross check. Otherwise, we have to just log out and log in. go to navigator, and yes, we got it. My client groups, and where is the new person? Still it's not updated. It's not at came. New person. Okay. So let me log out from the current user and log in again. Can check it from here also. So go to navigator, my client groups. Not exist. Okay. So let me run the LDAP process. Generally not required. It's automatically submitted. Let's go to setup and maintenance. To synchronize the users and roles information, we need to run one process. Go to initial users, run user and role synchronization process. Nothing but LDAP process. Lightweight directory access protocol. Lightweight directory access protocol, and go to navigator, scheduled process. You will come to know that. Yes, that's a problem. Okay. So it seems this particular process is blocked. So if you attach even new roles or something, it will not update immediately. So it will take a couple of minutes or a couple of hours sometimes. That's the reason even if we attach the entire role, it's not working. Okay. Go to home page. Navigator. Not a problem. So what we'll do is we will use the another user. I just wanted to do it in the same user all the setups, but as the process is not working, so I'm going to take another user which is already having human resource specialist role. Let's go for the user called Curtis Fitty. This user is already having human resource specialist role, or HCM IMPL also is fine. This user also is having this role. Somebody has changed the password for this user. It's okay. Since my network is it's okay. Go to navigator. And once we go to navigator, see new person. Even for our user also, the moment when we attach human resource specialist, and if the background process is success, we'll get it here. Go to new person. This is the place where we are going to hire an employee. So whatever the objects we did, let me go for hire an employee. There are different types of here: contingent worker, pending worker, non-worker. We'll be discussing that in the next sessions. I'm hiring an employee for this reason. And what is our legal entity? IBM. This is, and this I'm going to mention Mukund Kale is the person name, and I'm going to have this date of birth. These all are generic information. National identifier. So we are hiring for US. Social security number. It must be 9-digit format, and this should be like this. First 3, next 2, next 4. That's a format. So when we are hiring an employee, we'll hire, of course, we'll be hiring a number of employees from now onwards, because we'll be doing transfer, global transfer, terminations, mass updates, assignments, lot of things here. Identification details, employee person information, employment information, salary information. Finally, we'll go for review and go for close it. That's how we are going to do this process, right? So let me just, identification means general details, date of birth and social security number. Person information means home address, phone numbers, email IDs. These all are employee person information, phone details, email details, legislative, marital status, and citizenship, passport details, visa information, any brother or sister, parent, contacts information. But out of that, home address is mandatory. So I'm going to mention this is IBM home address just for identification. 12200. That's the zip code I'm entering, New York. So actual tab is this employment information. So here only we are going to mention. Okay. So whenever we are hiring an employee, system will directly ask you the legal employer name. It's one of the important question in the interviews. At what level you are going to hire an employee? So we are going to hire an employee at legal entity level. At legal entity level, we are going to hire an employee. So it will never ask you the ledger or LDZ or division or enterprise. Of course, enterprise is always only one. You hire any employee for any legal entity, obviously it comes under the same enterprise, right? We already mentioned our legal entity. After legal entity, what is the next? It will ask, what is your business unit? For which business unit you are hiring an employee? That's what it's going to ask us here. Let me go to our application. Here is our business unit. Use IBM. Business unit. And the position, then remaining all. So whatever position, department, job, grade, location, every option we will specify. The moment whenever we select the position, it takes automatically job name, department name, location name, grade ladder. This all comes automatically. But we are not getting grade ladder because we are not assigned our grades. Automatically, we are not getting. We missed one option today. We are not associated our grades with the jobs and positions. That's why we are not getting. Fine, no problem. For next employee, we'll look into that. It's okay, fine. Job and department, location, everything we got it. And then go for next. Go for submit. Fine, we hired an employee successfully. Let me go to navigator and go to person management here. And the name of employee, it's Mukund Kale. It's going to be Mukund insert here. This is employee name. The moment when we hire an employee, automatically username will be created. It means user account will be created. But of course, we can make it as I don't want to create automatically. Explicitly, I want to do it for everybody. Then not an issue. We can do it. Okay. So now go to the task list here, right side. And here we will find complete information about employee absences, nothing but absence management, employee payroll, this is payroll module, and this is compensation setup, nothing but salary setup. This is actually global HR. Right now we are here. We'll talk about this later when that particular course comes. Okay. So here personal and employment is nothing but a global HR. So go down here. There is an option called user account. Click this. When you click user account, you will come to know the user name is created or not. If created, it is active status or not. Now system is telling me very clearly that the username is this last name dot first name and it is active status. Okay. And one role also is assigned, the default role here it is. Okay. So we can have the username as something person number also, and we can have the email ID also, but the default is the last name dot first name. I just wanted to update the password for my username. Go to security console, go to tools menu, security console, and users. Search for the username. I'm just going for update the password for the user. Reset the password and change the password here is let me set some new password and reset the password here. Repeat. Default employee role is assigned. We are not done. It's very simple how to assign the role to the user automatically. We'll discuss that when we are talking about the roles session. You want to add some other roles, we can add. At this point of time, I'm not going to add any other roles. Let's log out from the current user and log in with a new user, whatever we have created. So let's update password here. So this is how we are going to create an user for a user account. We have not assigned any role. So just navigator, only employee role is there. Self information can be accessible. So if you go to personal information, you can find the self information here. So that's about the entire process in a single session of the global HR from the legal employer to this option. Now can go ahead with that practice. We'll see that next session. Okay. Thank you.